Welcome to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. So today, I found something that was in my drawer that you need to see, and it's over here. Nothing bad. We're going to talk about the Mizuno ST2 or STG 220 and the Mizuno Denim with Matt, a longtime subscriber, friend, and visitor. And we're also going to talk about a whole bunch of other golf stuff. So let's get started. Okay, what's in my drawers golf talk with Jim McCleary. Why isn't what's in my drawers? Because old Clubmaker Club fitters are tremendous pack rats, and I'm one of those. Started off that discussion, and we've gone worldwide, and it's been pretty exciting, I have to say. And typically, as we do all of these things, we are going to talk about the Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Open. Jason Kokrak from the Cleveland area. He ended up going minus 10 he went. Not bad at all. And I wanted to, and all of you guys were watching, the Charles Schwab Cup. We all know who won that one. Phil Mickelson, minus 19, went minus 6 on the last round. I got to see some of that. That dude looked like he was about as comfortable as they ever came. 4 out of 6 wins on that tour every time he shows up. Not bad. And the Pelican Women's Championship, Nelly Korda with Lydia Ko, and then Cy Young Kim after that. So a lot of golf being played out there, right? We're in the beginning of the season, so it is what it is. And we're seeing a lot of people do a lot of winning, and congratulations to all of them. I like Jason Kokrak ever since he's, listened to him. He's on Sirius XM on the PGA channel, and ever since he's come back to Cleveland, he's actually been winning. So I don't know what's going on with that, but his putting has just been crazy good. And I think that's what's been happening. He already hits at a mile anyway. All righty. So what's in my drawers? So what's happening here in the McGolf shop is we're going to get a new couple of windows, and Mrs. McGolf has just been all over me for that. And she picked some out, and when they're getting put in, and so we moved some stuff around. And so not necessarily in the golf shop, but in McGolf itself was this. And I showed you this earlier. This was the top, and we're going to show you this. So this was a display that I had in the early days, and you can see some of it's broken. But this one was for irons. That one was for the woods. Back to the irons, and then back to the woods. And it's made out of oak. It's made out of oak, right? There's the inside of it. And I made this bad boy by hand. It's got the spindle at the bottom and a plate. And then this guy here would fit on top. And I made it so it only fit one way. Let's see if I can get it to fit. It actually fits pretty tight because it's cut right out of it. Oh, come on, get in there. There we go. Oh, I have to spin it around. Well, anyway, it fits in here because I did take it out because it doesn't fit that way. I'm going to try one more time. There we go. That's how tight it fits. And then you would have one on the top, and then that would display another wood. All right, so there's that. That was quite the space saver. That was quite the space saver in the day. And I just basically had more space, so I really didn't need it. So that was pretty cool. A couple more things. Number one is my frequency machine. Decided that it's time for it to go, and it's this guy. It's my GolfWorks frequency machine. It comes with the chart that is actually calibrated to it. Right, calibrated to it, and as a whole, there's another one. If you come and get that one, or you get this one, I really shipping this thing is problematic because I won't say it's delicate, but I just don't want it to get ruined. I can do a lot of wrapping around it, but it will add to the shipping cost. Now I think that would be all right. Anyway, if you end up going with this one, I do have the Club Scout, and I'll just put that in there with it. So it's kind of a twofer. So if you guys are interested, and it won't be out of this site expensive either, send us an email, mcgolfshop@roadrunner.net. All right. Last, before we start getting in, we talking about this because I know Matt's got to go. And look at that, McGolf Shop's empty. Woohoo! All right. Spent the last couple of days just getting her done. And we're going to show you that. We're going to show you the stuff going on. We're changing this up a little bit. Why? Well, Matt he has been following the channel for a long, long time and comes down and visits. And he comes down and visits a couple of times a year. And it is always a treat. And the dude's a machine. He's very tall, big hands. And you see him on here. He talks about how low he goes. He's a heck of a golfer. And I said, well, while you're here, hit some clubs for me because they only come in right-handed. And he said, sure. So I'm going to bring him on. And his camera's not working, but his voice is working really, really well. So there's Matt. If you were to see Matt, there'd be a big guy sitting in that square. And he's getting ready to do, we got to get this going because he's getting ready to go to another appointment. However, so we're going to start with the easy one. So we did the Mizuno new T22. This is the denim wedge, right? The denim wedge, and in the D grind. I think this is going to be extraordinarily popular, just because of the color. But I do like the D grind. See if I can get in there because of the way that it is cut out. Right, it's cut out this way and a little bit flatter. But Matt, since they're right-handed, Matt got a chance to hit this one and an X grind. So, Matt, what did you think of it when you first got it?
When I picked up the clubs for the first time, the heaviness of the heads really showed out to me. And what was unique about it is because I use those Jumbo Max grips, so all my clubs are heavy, but I never feel the heads anymore. So it took me a while to get used to that. But other than that, great clubs.
So now it also has a bit of a different face.
Yes.
And you can see it's discolored, and there's a lot of this thing's been hit quite a bit by other guys going through fittings. So in relationship to other wedges, because you've hit some other ones, how did it feel? I mean, was it soft, hard, just right? What'd you think?
It felt normal other than the weight. That was the big thing that jumped out at me was the weight of the club. But it felt great when you hit it solid. It went to the distance that we were looking for.
Right, and so he was calling out his distances. He said, "My wedge goes this far," and he was within a yard. Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's pretty good." And so we knew it was working. Yeah. And I was checking the spin rates, and he was right around that 8,000 to 88, between 8,000 and 8,800 when he was getting the spin.
Yeah.
And on what we call three-quarter shots, quarter shots, that kind of stuff.
Those were really good. I enjoyed like a chip shots, half pitch shots. Those were 30-yard shots were really, really solid off of that club.
Now, so everybody understands that one of the myths out there is that all these wedges they're all forged, and that's not anywhere close to the truth. They're either soft cast, soft metals, but this club and the Wilson club are actually forged wedges, and they have significantly different feels. That is to be sure. But I do like the denim. What did you think about the coloring on it? What did it remind you of?
It was unique to Mizuno. I really enjoyed the dark face, or I'm sorry, the dark of the back of the club. But looking at the face was kind of cool because you could see the different color and all of that.
Right. Comes with a dynamic gold. There's what they're calling their spinner, and it's whether S400. So this is a standard weight wedge shaft. So now that we're looking at it, Matt, so that's where the heavies come in, and this is probably 125, 130 versus most people doing 115 to 105. So that's probably where a lot of that weight's coming from. And then they finish it off with this has just got the demo grip in it, but that's their standard Mizuno grip. All right. So we killed that one. So that thing comes in, the copper grind, or the denim copper is what they're calling it, will come in typically it's a finish, and it's supposed to come in all the different ones. I'm not so certain that's the way it's going to work out, but the denim certainly has the X grind, and it has the D grind. The X grind is a little more heel and toe relief with a little less bounce. So there's that one. All right. So on to the next one. This guy didn't do too bad.
No, really nice club.
ST-200G. So the thing with the ST-200G is that everybody's been touting is that it has weights. So it's got a weight slide here, and I don't know if you can get in. There we go. It's got a weight slide there, and then a weight slide here, and these two weights move around. And what it is, this is a 7. Put it over here. This is those are two 7-gram weights. So if you're really wanting to make an impact, you're going to have to move those around, right? So this is the toe, obviously, is to keep it open, to hang you open a little bit. This one is for the hook or the draw, and this one and the one in the back is for higher flights, right? We want to get higher flights. And then it has the standard Mizuno wave technology right there. It has the top that everybody's used to seeing. And it comes with, and we really didn't get to talk too much about that while you're hitting it, but it comes with the RDX smoke, which is kind of a stout shaft, which actually tend to fit Matt in the way that he swings. And then the beta tie face. So what were you thinking about this guy?
I just remember the first swing of it was the best hit out of all of them. It went out there like my normal driver, similar distances to where I'm getting about the 240 carry, 235, 240 carry out to about 250 roll. But great club. Like, I'm a fan of the SLDR, and so the movement of the weights is huge for anybody that is looking for adjustability, number one, playability, number two, and just overall getting a club that fits them. And Mizuno hit it out of the park with this one.
Yep, and it also has an adjustable hosel as well.
Yeah.
This one's the 9.0, and it goes, I believe it's plus or minus 2.
Okay.
For Matt regarding the wedges, if he could tell the difference between the grinds.
Okay, so somebody's asking you.
Kurt from Northern Ohio.
Oh, Kurt from Northern Ohio. He's wanting to know if you could tell the difference between the two grinds when you hit them.
I think the layman answer would be no, but I did notice the difference with it going through the turf as a 60-degree and a 56. So, but I think the biggest difference was the loft, but I did not, if I was hitting it off of the mat, I don't think I would have noticed the difference of the grinds, because I know most of them are heel and toe relief anyways. So,
All right.
It's a good question though.
All righty. Back onto the driver. The other thing that we noticed is that you really weren't, for a, so Matt really hits down on his irons. I mean, really down. And I mean, I hit down and almost to an embarrassing spot, and he makes me look normal.
Yeah.
So he hits down on him. So I mean, he's pinching. The driver, not real bad, but there's still a slight down. The thing is that the spin rates were totally acceptable.
Yeah.
Even going through this, the spin rates were totally acceptable. Now, if we look at this again, if we take these weights here and we slide them all the way to the front where the face is at, that can also remove some spin.
Okay.
Where if you slide them back, it's less spin removal. But all the ST models are just absolute spin killers. That's the way I've noticed it so far. So what did you like it at address, Matt? Did it look pretty good to you?
It looked I really enjoyed looking at all of the clubs that we tested. The driver especially, because I'm currently hitting that Wishan 910. So it looked similar. Seeing the Mizuno symbol at the top was also really, really nice, because I know we were talking about where the ball should be off of that. But holding the club, the only thing that I would say is when we're doing testing is, like, it's really different to go from a Jumbo Max to a regular script. So I don't know if that was a little bit of some performance anxiety on my part. But other than that, the clubs were really, really nice to hit. They were easy to hit, and the experience was really good.
Good. So one more here before you got to go. Did you happen to notice the shaft in this? It didn't feel too boardy or anything, did it?
I could feel it. Now I use the Acura, the Tour I series.
Right.
So when
And
I take that back and I'm at the top of my swing, I can find it. And we discussed that while we were hitting, is that I could find that Acura I series. Now with that, what is it? The Smoke ODX?
RDX, yeah.
RDX, yeah. I didn't feel the kick off of it. So that would be the only difference of what I would normally play with that Acura I series. And so when I would take it up to the top, or whatever's top for my swing, I would feel the shaft give. And in that one, I didn't feel that shaft give.
And so for that, we can have a comparison, apples to apples comparison. The Tour series that we put in Matt's clubs has a bit of reinforcement down at the bottom, about this much of it is down towards the tip, and it gives it a little bit of weight. It's also we'll call it a very stiff club, because Matt gets back there and he turns on it, and he's putting a lot of stress pulling down on it. It's not a violent swing, it's just an abbreviated swing, and there's a lot going on right there, and it stays with him. And the thing that he's feeling is he's got these jumbo grips that are the Jumbo Max grips that are they're mammoth size, and they're very, very heavy. But for him, what it's doing is putting a lot of weight in his hand, so that when he pulls back on the club, he feels this weight in his hand.
Yeah.
And when we gave him the smaller grip, which was this guy, all of a sudden all that weight was down here.
Yeah.
And it was throwing him off a little bit, but boy, oh boy, he turned on a couple of them and got him out there. Even on some of the bad ones that didn't go very far, still the spin wasn't crazy, and that was really a testament to a shot that's not really all that great.
Yeah.
So in all, buddy, what'd you think of Mizuno products for the year?
Mizuno is getting themselves into the game, and that's awesome. Coming to a lot of my golfing friends, they all play Mizuno irons, and they've been playing Mizuno irons for a long time. Me personally, I've never owned a Mizuno club. Obviously, going through the fittings with you when we went through our fitting with Sean, which is a kind of a similar type of forged club and all of that. So I would always pick that type of situation over anything else.
There you go.
Yep.
All right, partner. So next time we get Matt on here, we'll have to get him to where his camera's working.
Yeah. Sorry about that, folks.
He doesn't. Because I'm telling you, it would be a tremendous discussion on this. It would be a lot of fun. I'm here to tell you.
Yeah.
All righty, Matt. I appreciate it. Hopefully, get in there and kick the butt and go kick some butt.
I will try.
All righty. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. That was Matt. He's the guy that you see he's the guy that asks a lot of questions on the side. Matt Revlock. Good guy, good golfer, good guy, big guy, and his kids are extraordinarily nice, and they're very athletic. So I think we'll probably see a little bit more of these guys on TV one day. All right, so we got through the last bit of this because I wanted to Matt had an appointment. Things that we did in the shop. Just really quick, there's a video. All right, so now like and subscribe. There we go. More of the videos are then drop. We've got one coming out tomorrow, and it's about a PXG rebuild. And we take out they come in. It's a boxes to builds. It comes from Alabama. Mr. Wiggins wanted us to put some shafts in there, and we talk about the special ferrule that goes into the shaft and what we did in order to gain the swing weights and the things like that. Even at the end, I tell you, I kind of dropped the ball and then I picked it back up. It caused me some extra work. So anyway, we did that, and we talked to him. He was going to stop by, but the bad weather was setting in, and we kind of agreed it'd been better if he just kept driving and make some time. But the other set that we got to do, remember I showed you the Bridgestone? Well, there we go. We got put together, right? Got put together, and he got the BB&F ferrules on there. Then he had some light blue grips to go on there. Kind of matched up really, really nice. And there's just another one, just a most photogenic one. So what happened there is that he had them pured, and we didn't want to take the grips off. So I kind of finagled on. I went down the shaft a little bit, and I figured, well, if it's pured, it ought to work, and it did. And we got them in the right spot, got them flowed and spined. So if they're just a tiny bit off, that's just because now they're balanced to that club versus the other one. And he was looking for a particular swing weight too, and we added a little bit and got them where they needed to go. So all in all, it was pretty good day. So we got through there. We got now we're just waiting on the new stuff to come in order to start building on that. All right, so back up into the questions now. All righty, Samson. Hello, Jim. Question about flow. Do you make sure that, I'll read it down here. Do you make sure that you pull the club head shaft in a straight line before you release it and not make it wobble because of a bad pull? Regards in Germany. Hi, we got one right off the bat. So Samson, yes. So what I do is, and the wedge fell down, so we use the driver. So if we had, assuming this had everything's sitting, this is at 12 o'clock. So if I am clamping in this direction up and down, right, I will pull straight down as much as I can, right? And normally what it is, I just pull down and I let my finger slide in order for it to wobble. Now, if I'm clamping in this direction, right, or even this direction, then I will pull here, okay, and I will pull there. Now, the thing is, if it is actually in the right spot, it will find itself. If it's not in the right spot, it'll start waggling all over the place. And actually, you see me doing that in this video we're getting ready to release tomorrow. So if you're interested, take a gander. It'll be released at 7 a.m. my time. So it should be in the middle of the day for you guys. But thanks for the question. And from Germany. All right. Charles, what do we say? 36 on the front with a birdie. You are the man. And an eagle on a consecutive hole. Wow. All right. And gave it all back with a 43 on the back. He still broke 80 though, man. That's the way to go. Well, that's one heck of a way. You're pretty much on the ragged edge of your golf season unless you're going north. So that's one heck of a way to end it. Good job. Look at that. But Kent thinks so. Good job. There's Jason. What's Jason want? Jason, good evening, Jim. Any tips on removing graphite shaft that's broken off in the hosel? I have a Ping G15 5-iron that has done this. I'd like to fix it myself. No special tools needed. So Jason, the biggest thing really, if you want it to go easy, is you got to figure out how to heat the exterior of that iron with either like a butane torch or propane torch. And you don't have to heat it up for very long. About a minute with butane. Yeah, maybe just a little bit less, and work your way around it. Just the hosel area, and that's it on the outside. Then once you got it warmed up, then take a drill. It's called step drilling, and get something that's probably 1/4 of an inch, and then 5/16 of an inch, or 1/4 of an inch, and work your way up to 3/8. And eventually it'll grab and get it all. And then you're going to need like a plumber's wire brush, and then clean it out. And then you're good to go. All right. Kurt, there you go. Superb Jeff on the MP32s, and they had them high. Oh, good. Well, thank you, buddy. These are the MP32s I showed you guys a couple weeks back, and we got Kurt taken care of. Very good. Yeah, Eagles. That would be awesome, dude. I'd like to see that one. Slats, greetings from sunny Moore Park, Ventura County. Nice, 70 degrees. You turd. We're all jealous over here. We're all jealous over here in Ohio where it's 45 and lowering. And we had spitting, freezing snow, and up north got a lot of bit of snow, as I understand it. It's just that time of the year for us. Emmanuel, how are you, sir? Good evening. Great way to start the week. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Rare, very rare. Shanks, not so much. Yeah, no doubt. Right? Excellent quote right there. Danny, dropped my woods and hybrids off to get regripped yesterday. Nice day today. Played 9 holes, teeing off with a 7-iron. Did manage to par the par 5. There you go. Now, you know what? There's more than one case of that where people, for some reason or another, don't have their driver, and they will find themselves playing with just their irons and score as well or better. And it's because the driver doesn't get them into trouble. And yeah, sometimes they might have to give up an extra shot on some, but then not on others. It's really a neat idea. If people were to just play around with just irons, you'd be surprised how well that would work out for a lot of folks. Now, why is that? Well, the longer the club is, the harder it is to control. And as most people would say, is that if you have a standard length driver and you're not somewhere in the Matt Revlock height, which is 6'6" and above, chances are your consistency is suffering. And that's due directly to the length. Now, once you get that, that's just one of many parameters. But once you get that dialed in, at least you can understand what the club is going to do and then manage your way around the course. Brendan, how are you, sir? Just fitted with the Apex Pro combo set, stiff shafts. What would the MMT shaft be like in irons? I have it in my hybrid, and it is unreal. That's turning out to be a real shaft. Now, number one, the combo set for that is really outstanding. They should have given you the opportunity to either have them like the Apexes or like the Pros, and because they're just off a little bit, so it's just some small tweaking on the way up or down. But the MMT shafts everybody gives graphite down the road for, it's for an old person, it's a whippy or any of that other kind of stuff. And that in the MMT, that is not so. It is just absolutely not so. And they come in different weights as well. And so you can bring that thing around and you'll be able to control your flight, keep it out of the wind, that kind of stuff. So I imagine that you'll probably end up liking them very, very well. The S word doesn't scare him anymore. I get them. Stop. All right, Dave. Hey, buddy. Hope you're doing well too, sir. What's your opinion on flowing putter shafts? And if you did, which direction would you orient the flow in the head? I did. I when I built them a lot, I did. The thing is, did it need it? I would argue the fact that probably not, because the flow and the spine and all that stuff were really dependent on the stress that you would put down on the shaft, and you really weren't doing that with the putter. But I was always going with the idea, in which I specifically define here, is that it's a level of consistency. So that means I'm orientating it so that it should work the exact same way every single time. And now I know you can argue in the other direction, but that was just from a building perspective. And if I was to do it, I would do it just like I did all the rest. I would do it at 12 o'clock and let the putter work for itself. Especially the 8-iron. Come on, Kent. The 8-iron? Everybody loves an 8-iron. Dave again. Jim saw the new All Fit Master hosel sleeves and shaft adapters. Are there little grooves on the sleeve and the adapter to prevent twisting? Also, do you flow your demo shafts? No, the grooves are not there for twisting. They're there for the epoxy to grab. And do I flow them? Yeah. Yes, I do. And the best part about it is you see all those shafts right there? That's how they flowed. That's how they came through. So, yeah, I was really happy with them. Mr. Willard, how are you? You covered up in snow up there? Getting my tight knee done Wednesday. So glad once out. All right. Great video. Thank you, sir. Ken's talking about Loft and Lies. There we go. Duke. Cold in the PA. Got around Saturday, 83, very windy. Oh, shot an 83. I was going to say, if you're 83, that's not very cold, bud. 39 degrees. Yeah, you went beyond my mark. No, I'm not doing that. No. Yeah, we had that same thing. Thursday was nice and windy. Friday was cold. Saturday was, if you were brave, you could have made it out, but you wouldn't have been out there for very long. And then Sunday was just windy and nasty and rainy and freezing. Now we're going back up. By today was in the 40s, the low 40s, and by Wednesday we're supposed to be into the 60s, and then it's going to drop off again. And then I think that's the end of it. That was Mother Nature's last hurrah for trying to stay warm. Dave in cold Michigan. I think we're all going to be cold, Dave. This is going to be a winter that a lot of us are going to probably regret. All right, what do we got here? Shot a best 81. All right. On Saturday after 95, or on Sunday after 95 on Saturday. What's the best way to go with shaft weight when going to a 5 wood? Got the Hazard 63 in my driver. Well, if you got the Alpha, oh, that's 815. Okay. I would look at something in the 70 gram range. Something in that 70 gram range to go look. So typically what it is you go 10 grams heavier for the fairway woods and then trim accordingly. Now there are shafts out there that are fairway wood already, and I would still do the same thing. Get the 70 gram ish and get the fairway wood and then trim very little bit accordingly, because no trimming for the 3 and just a little bit for the 5 and you're good to go. And I wouldn't necessarily, everybody says trim an inch on the 3 wood. I don't think so. I think it's a little less, to be honest with you. I would go maybe 3/4 of an inch, because you do want a little bit. You don't want it so it's just hard as a rock. You want it to give a little bit. So about 3/4. There we go. Poor weather here in Halifax, Yorkshire. Not sure it matters when I'm on nights. Yeah, it doesn't to either one of us, right? The night shift. Ooh-wee. All right. Jim, did you notice Phil Mickelson didn't bend over to read greens when he putts? I did not notice that. I think he was playing with such swagger. I don't think it really mattered. He was just in a groove. He was hitting stuff from all over the place, and it was just landing where he wanted it to go. But very good. And just good. I'm glad to see him doing well there as well. You know, he's going to have, I'm sure he's probably going to set some sort of record, and then he'll be done. I fully suspect we'll see him in a broadcasting booth somewhere. Krister, how are you, sir? Hopefully everything's coming along with your rehab. Yeah. Yeah, that was one of those necessities, the mother of invention. I had very, very, very little counter space, or very, very little to set anything on. I had no way to put anything on a wall, and I needed something quick. And here in where I'm at in Ohio, there was a cabinetry place, and the fronts were all real wood, and because there's trees for days out here, and I had oak, and they would sell oak in these planks that were from the doors or the door fronts, and you could buy a pallet for just some crazy low number. So I went out and bought a pallet, and it had like 500 pieces of this oak on it. I thought, well, I've got to figure out what to use this for. So I made some golf ball holders and just little trinkety type things. And this, I was like, well, I need to figure out how to make this. And so the dimensions were basically the size of the wood. I didn't glue anything together other than to make the box. And it was kind of really fun to do that because of cutting out, because I really liked woodworking back in the day. So not too bad. Yeah. You know what? I'm pretty certain that it actually, because the way I glued it and put together, it actually might hold something. Not too bad. Robert, you made it back, sir. Good for you. So did everybody like the truck? What do you think? All right. Here we go. Ted Sulich. Hey, I've heard of this name before. We've done this. Good evening. My two favorite golfers won the tournament. I've been shooting in the 80s more often. All right. Nicely. What do you think of the new Mizuno driver? Ted, I've only been able to hit the one because they only make one left-handed. And I have to say it's very nice. It is all the STs are spin killers. They all basically look identical at address. You have the X, you have the Z, and you have the ST-220. Now, one of them is draw bias, and it's just because of more weight being removed from the front than in the back. The other one is their standard driver. What I have been finding that's been working for me, and I've been struggling trying to find a shaft that would work with these things in order to get that performance. And I was trying to use these guys here, the Acras, and they're a phenomenal shaft. They just didn't marry up with the other ones. But these guys are right here, the ones behind me, those Vertex, the ones that are made on the hazardous platform, really work. And it's kind of funny that they pick the hazardous to go in the 200 or the 220. But I think that I think that anybody gets one won't be disappointed. Robin saying hi to Bob. He's up there somewhere. All right, let's go back down here. Travis, New Jersey. All right. What is your go-to pre and post round meal? Well, typically I will say this. Normally my normal thing is I go golfing on Sundays with my dad. And we go and we try and get the very, very first tee time because it's just me. And I don't want to have to, basically bother, playing through a lot of people, because whether I was playing good, bad, or in between, 1 versus 3, I'm still going to be faster in almost every single case. Dad likes coming along because he likes getting out, and he's basically my coach. We'll call it that for lack of a better term. He keeps me grounded instead of just have my head blown off my shoulders. And so what our routine is that we get up early enough to go out there, and between here and there, we stop at McDonald's. And I end up getting a one of those McGriddle biscuits, and he gets a sausage McMuffin, and he gets a Coke, and I get a Diet Coke, and that's pretty much our meal for before getting going. Then we get to the course. Then what I'll do is I'll get another drink. We'll get a drink for each one of us for later, and then one of those like a protein bar, oatmeal bar, or something like that. And then afterwards, typically I've got something on the grill smoking on Sundays. So whatever that might be, we typically skip right through lunch, and then we go right to the dinner. There's a whole lot, but that's what it is. And this last Sunday,
And then read down below, dinner with my wife.
dinner with my wife, yes, very much so. And this last Sunday we did pork shoulder. We did pork shoulder, and it really turned out very, very well. All right, Dave tested the new Speeder 569-7 stiff. Shaft is this past weekend in the garage hitting bay. I found a replacement for a Tensai AV raw blue. Lighter shaft, more swing speed. Nice. Okay. Glad you like it. I'd like to see some more on that. I'd like to see some more from them. All right, Robert, it's glad to see you convinced me to go straight home instead of trying to stop by and visit. The weather turned real bad quick on me as I traveled south towards Cincinnati. Yeah, we knew it was coming, right? We knew it was coming. I didn't know how far you were going to get. I figured you might make it as far as Lexington, and then it was either going to be too late or you were going to have to stop. But I'm glad you made it home safe, bud. Dave, what tips do you have for grinding a wedge? Need to take some material away and reduce the bounce and open the face without raising the leading edge in the heel of a 56 degrees. Thanks. Wahoo! All right. Well, a couple of things, Dave. Number one, when we talk about grinding, a lot of people will try and get on those grinding wheels when you get them on grinders that you can buy at the Home Depots, what used to be Sears, at your local hardware store that would sell that kind of stuff. And honestly, that's probably it would be my opinion, it's not one of the best things that you can do. I like using the Jet with the hard tractor tire wheel at the top so you can lean into it because it's a hard rubber, but it doesn't bounce, right? And use sandpaper. Right, use a sandpaper. You can even go, if you had to remove a lot, you can go up to that 80 grit, but that's a lot of removal. 100 grit's probably the average because it leaves a smoother finish that you can work out much later. But so number one, the first thing you want to do is take a Sharpie and mark on the wedge where it is you want to remove the metal. Right, that gives you a guideline. It's like putting a puzzle together. So you put that line on there so when you're grinding, you know where not to go over. Because if you go too far, you just ruin the wedge. All right, so if you're going to do some heel relief, that's pretty easy. They call that a tour grind so that you can lay it open. Okay. The other part is if you're going to reduce bounce, you reduce it from the trailing edge moving towards the face. Okay. Trailing edge towards the face. Some people will tell you the other way, not necessarily, because it doesn't take a whole lot to get rid of it. Because a lot of them are, if they're curved, you may just have to remove some of that curvature in order to get out. Much like I was showing you with the Mizuno, it was flat. See if I can get it. Okay, so this thing is, man, there we go. Whoa. All right, so if you look at this guy, let's see if I can get it showing up. Here we go. So if you look, there's a lot. This is actually flat right about here or really close to it. It's hard to maneuver around this camera, but if you look, see how it's all back in this area? If you start here and work your way that way, that's better. Work your way that way, you'll be better off. But start here in order for them to be able to open it up, but mark it. And then when you're done, you keep in mind that you're going to be removing the coating on the wedge, unless it's raw. But you're going to be removing the coating on the wedge, so you're going to want to. What I used to do is I polished it. I polished it to a high reflective polish, and what that did is that kind of recoated that area, and then of course a little bit of wax, but that went off after about 2 shots. But I polished it to a high polish, and then that way, in my mind's eye, it made a sealing surface so that it wouldn't rust at least right away. But you did remove the outer layer or the outer skin on it, so it's going to want to do that. So whoever you're doing that for, you're going to want to remind them that they're going to want to clean it, keep it dry, and then have fun with it. He didn't hit them all, Kurt. What he did is he hit 2. He had the X and we had the standard, but he was more of a guy that liked opening the club. So the D and the X were more towards his liking. and the dude's got game, man. He would call out his shot and hit it. You know, I want to go 80, 85 yards, bam. I want to go 15 yards, bam. I want to go higher, bam. I mean, the guy's got game. All right. Dave, here we go. How many any clubs come with lower groove paint fill? Does that help the golfers see and square the face? I believe that there's still some out there, Dave. I believe that there are. I believe there's still some out there. Not very many. They used to have that, you know, the bottom one line. And do I think it helps? Yeah, I do. I think it's a good indicator. It's much like having the little logo on the top of on the driver. It kind of helps you orient where you're going. In some cases, if you had the right paint, you could paint fill that bottom line. And I'm thinking that it would stay in there pretty good as long as you're using a pretty good paint. Yeah, you know what? I'm getting a lot, Dave. I'm getting a lot of that on the fairway woods too. Their 200 was really something else, and I think the other ones are just as good, if not just a tick better. Robin's talking to some folks. I got to get past her talking. Help retire. There you go. How you doing, man? Bronson McNulty. All right. Is there such a thing as mental fatigue for the face of drivers? Yes, there is. There is very much mental fatigue for the face of drivers. Now, a lot has to do with how fast you're swinging. You hear about guys caving in faces all the time, right? Particularly the long drive guys. Now, they swing at some stupid, incredible speeds, and they have to have faces that are a little bit more reinforced. Now, can you bust one if you're swinging at 105, 110? Can you bust a face? Yes, you can. Mizuno is going to be another. This has become a demo club for me. I've had more than my share. That when you hit the golf ball along this seam right here, you get up in here and you see a lot of goose eggs like in this area. Golf is not meant to be played up here. Golf is meant to be played here. But if you get along this top edge right here, or even a lot in the bottom edge, I've seen guys crack faces. Okay. And that's repeatedly in the same spot. And now the other question is, well, okay, so if you hit in the middle of the face all the time, can you get mental fatigue? The answer is still yes. For an average golfer, say me, right, average golfer, I would have to have that driver for an extended period of time in order to see some fatigue. But yeah, it can go away. You can lose the driver bling out of a club for certain. Sunny V Golf, there you are. Had snow on the ground. Ugh. You don't go south? You sit there and take it like you sit there and take it with everybody else, don't you? Dave, the RDX Smoke Blue is awesome. Awesome shaft for feel and kick. I'm thinking I might have to check a couple of these things out. So not too bad. Robert, thank you both for taking care of me and getting my clubs built for me. Really excited to get them. I think you're going to like them, Robert. They turned out pretty good. I'm really happy with them. All right, Scott. You and I are going to have to get together and get over there in Batavia and get that doggone. I want to play at that course again. That was just a super nice course. So early in the season, we're going to have to come on over there and get a good round in. All right, Donald Gifford, how are you, sir? How clean is clean enough for reshafting with regard to iron hosels? Okay, Donald, so the hosels, you don't want any junk in them, right? The whole idea here is to clean the inside of the hosel is, well, the hosel's metal, right? And you don't want any impediments, you don't want any crud, you don't want any junk inside the hosel and the walls of the hosel that something could get in the way for the epoxy to bind to. Now, you get down into the bottom, and the ideal situation is that it's all gone. But if there's a little bit on the bottom, is it bad? Well, for me, yes, because that's me. I am that way. I want all the crud and all the stuff out. And I want it out so that the epoxy will bond, because the epoxy will get into the bottom. It will bond on the bottom, it'll bond on the sides, the whole 9 yards. So I want it out as much as I can. Now, does that mean I have to clean it out with a wire brush, drill it out, use acetone, clean it to where it's just this impeccable level? No. All right. Some people use acetone. I tend to stay away from it because acetone, unless completely dry, can actually prevent the chemical bond from occurring. So I try to remove it with a mechanical means, i.e., a drill or a wire brush, which you'll see in the video that's coming out tomorrow. All right. Krister, he likes the feel. So the way that he swings, he is an abbreviated swinger. And we talked about this when we picked this grip. He's an abbreviated swinger. So when he only gets to right about here, but he makes a full and complete turn. So when he gets right here, if he had the ultralight grip, he would not be able to find where his club was, because he needs it right here, not out here. Okay, that's the reason why that's there like that. Okay, so that's what we're talking about, and so it put a little bit more weight in his hands, and all of a sudden everything tightened up for him, and that's the reason why we're there. Now, we did look at him to be sure, but and he was because it was intriguing, the ultralights being a less taper grip, but I think the other way it just worked a little bit better. Ron, welcome back, sir. Hip surgery. Oh my. Hip surgery. Well, hopefully everything turned out well and you're recovering very, very well. Glad to see that you made it back. Bobby Marston, can you talk about Futura Ventus shafts that a lot of the pros are using? Bobby, I'd love to be able to tell you I know everything about them, but I just don't. I know the Ventus is popular. I will say this. You'll see, popularity of shafts go in cycles. All right, they go in cycles. And the Ventus shaft, the blue, now there's a blue, a red, and a black. I don't know if there's another color. And in typical fashion, the red is the one that has a little bit more kick. The blue is for the average golfer, and the black is typically for the guy that's aggressive, a hard transition and a very, very late release. And what you're seeing is maybe an X-Flex version of the other one, and it's just coming through for him, and it's doing very, very well. I know there's something to the way that they put them together that makes this Ventus special, at least for Fujikura. Okay. I've had a few in the shop. They seem to be very nice, but I wasn't able to test them. I do know that my boys at Acura are very, very happy because Kokrak was playing one of their TZ lines in his driver, and he's a bomber. So I would, after he's won a couple of times, I would certainly expect the TZ line to regain popularity. But not to take anything from the Ventus, but the Ventus is very, very nice. Other than I know that they come in multiple weights. There's those 3 colors for different player profiles, and Fuji is an excellent shaft. Yeah, Robert, the one coming out, it's all about building on yours. Hey, shaft beads, can you use fine sand, and how much should you be putting into the epoxy mix? Well, we got to define fine sand. The answer is, yeah, can you use it? Yeah, I'm sure you could. We've used it was called Black Beauty. It was sandblasting grit. I know guys have used that. I'm pretty sure that's pretty much what it is. It's a very fine sandblasting grit. So if you had a fine sand and it just look and the stuff I use looks like fine sand, and alls I do is I just barely, and you see me, and I only use this finger to tap it as it's coming out of the container, just enough, just enough to put some across the top. I don't use a lot. That container that you see me use, it's only about this big, and it's about a big around. It lasts me for years. That's how little I use of it, but it's well worth it. So just a fine covering on the top, and yes, fine sand. Nope. I just need to get her in behind the gear. All right. Matt's got a question. He couldn't leave without one. Are you guys looking forward to the show in January? Yes. Yes, I am. I'm kind of concerned in that I'm hearing a lot of the OEMs are not showing up, and I think that's more of a concern for them from COVID, from the places, because most of the Cobras and the Callaways and all those are from California, and they might be suffering from California philosophy versus Florida philosophy, maybe. And but it's like the old story of a guy. It's an old story of how you see things. A shoe company sent two guys over across the way, and they came back, and the one guy says, "Hey, what do you think?" And he says, "We'll never. They don't wear shoes. We'll never be able to buy or sell a pair of shoes." The other guy goes, "Are you kidding me? This is excellent. Nobody wears shoes over there. We're going to be able to sell all kind of shoes." So it just depends on your take, and that's what I'm kind of going with on the PGA show. One of my favorite things to do is go and see the new stuff, the new inventors, the new stuff coming to market, because these guys are excited. They want to talk your ear off, and I want to learn. And so I think it might give more time to those guys. And I think that would be grand. And if you were a smaller company, if you really find out a lot of these guys weren't going and yet the Golf Channel was still coming, you're bound to get some free coverage. I mean, you're bound to, and why not? All right. Boxes to build. Yep. It's going to be fun, bud. We did all right. Darren, big fan. Thank you, sir. Curious on something from last week's show. If a tapered set of shafts cannot be frequency matched, how can that be consistent? What am I missing? Well, you're not. What you're talking about is constant weight. All right. The difference between consistent and constant. All right. So now let's give these guys a little bit of the shaft companies just a skosh of a break, in that most of these guys have been making golf shafts for quite a long time. And after a lot of R&D, that they know where the steps got to go, they know where the thickness of the shafts got to go, they know where the diameter of the shafts got to go, they know all these things based on a particular weight of head, right? Pardon me, a particular weight of head in order to get a particular reaction. Now, if you're off of that particular weight, then that you have to adjust. But they know where that's going, okay? And then as you go up, all things created equal, everything else, feel, swing weight, that kind of stuff should be very, very, very similar. Will it be frequency matched? Absolutely not. Now, can you fall in, get lucky, and get some that will fall in that frequency that you're looking for? Yeah, I've had that happen. I had one set, I had a set of 8, and 6 of them were good. 2 of them were not, and they were one at each end of the spectrum. The ones in the middle were fine. It was each end that was bad. So, but I've also had one where only 2 were good, and the rest of them were out. Now, what do I mean by out? Do I mean regular flex and one was X? No. What I would be saying is I might be looking for a 5.0, and this might be 5.5 to 5.75. So 3/4 of a flex, too much. And in some cases, yeah, full on flex would be out. So that's the difference in there. So hopefully that helps. There's Al from the Space Coast. Well done, sir. Hopefully everything's going well. Yeah, Matt's just a good guy. He's just a good cat. He's a good, positive guy to be around. We thought about that. He ran into, I think what he ended up liking, now that we've reviewed it, we can go further. I also had him hit the full toe from Callaway. And the full toe is a lighter shaft, and the balance in it was a little bit different. And he ended up liking that one. And I think it was because of the feel. The slightly lighter shaft changed the way that the dynamic worked on him. And he ended up liking that. But yeah, I think if we made that a little bit lighter and put that in there, he'd destroy it. Ron, got back from the hip. Let's see what you got here. My driver, senior flex, right-handed, 12.5. Tested the TM Max True driver, the Ventus Blue against my Callaway Epic Flash driver. Improve at 10 to 15 yards. Wahoo! Well done, sir. All right. Not bad. Very good. The only thing I would look at is ask him what the actual loft of the driver was, and then change your flash to that one and see what happens. But good. I'm glad that you got. Hey, any improvement's good. Mr. Patrick, how are you, sir? Yep, there you go. Oh, boy, that's got the nation. That has got the nation just tied in a knot, doesn't it? I hope the best for that young man. I know from all looks of what you get to see, his heart was in the right place. It was just an extraordinarily bad situation, and I hope they take that into account. My dog Rex, warm here in Florida. Yeah, buddy, I know. Oh, JP's watching. How you doing, JP? Peter, how are you? Syracuse in the house. Was in West Coast, West Palm. Oh, West Palm. No, was in Palm Coast, Florida. I'm going to say Palm Coast. Try to play golf. Weather was cold and rainy. Go figure. That's funny, Peter, because we do that when I normally go down to the PGA show. I'll leave and it's just absolutely cruddy up here. And the week I go down there, it's blustery and it gets time of cool. And I look up and it's 4 or 5 degrees warmer up here. I know, another one of those go figures, right? All right. Matt's talking with Charles about hitting some pitch shots. That's pretty cool. Wade Connie. Hey, folks, does media or sandblasting the face change the groove dimensions on all stainless steel I2s? How do I get that? How do I get not so technical with this? From a dimensional aspect, Wade, if you're just sandblasting and you're just removing the coating, the answer should be no. However, the way that they measure anymore is the curvature, the top end of the curvature here, the width, the radius, the depth, the way that all these, there's just a truck. You'd be surprised what the grooves are. And can it change it? Yes. Will it change it to the positive since the I2s are basically where they got the grandfather clause on them? Probably just a little bit, but is it to a point that would make them illegal? I don't think so. Now, if you get in there and you hammer it with the sandblast, because there's all different ways of sandblasting. You can sandblast and remove some material, and a lot of it. You can sandblast and just remove the exterior of it. So that I have to put that in there with a grain of salt, and that's what I mean. All righty. Matt, yes, it is cold on the golf course, particularly when it's in the 30s, dude. All righty. Patrick, here we go. Player with a 10-degree driver and a negative angle of attack, would you recommend a higher degree driver? Ball position the forward off the heel? No. Okay, here's the thing. A negative angle of attack, what I would do. So I do this a lot with people. Yep, I'm getting the watch thing here. I thought I was done, and then all these questions came in. If you have a negative angle of attack, and I'm being very, very extreme, if you're coming in here like this, and basically if you have a lot of loft, and then you turn it and you go, well, yeah, I should be able to get it up there. That's fine, except for you're still striking down. You're still striking down, and it's going to spin off. Okay. And the next thing is people are going to still try and have it towed up or teed up really, really high in order for that. Oh, I got to have that upward ball strike. Well, if you're swinging down and you got it teed high and you're not getting a ball up in the air, you're fighting yourself. Okay. And that's when all the goose eggs start showing up. So what I tend to do to people during fittings to make sure it works, number one, I actually take the 10 and I turn it into a 9. And then I have them tee it down this much, barely off the ground, and hit a few. Just hit a few, just hit a few, just hit a few, just hit a few. And it changes your whole attitude towards how you hit the ball. You may not have as much of a negative angle of attack. And all of a sudden, the ball starts raising up. And we probably get about this high to where the equator of the ball is just under the crown of the club. And we work your way into it to try. You'll never ever get rid of it all, but we might get rid of some. So tee it down, make it low, because when you're hitting in this part of the club, that's the highest angle on there. So it might be 9 here, but you could easily be 10 there. See what I mean? And that's what we're looking at. And so you tee it down and you just hit them. The first couple you're not going to like because it's going to be different. Nobody likes different. However, get you into about a half a dozen, and I'm telling you, it's going to get up in the air. And then you tee it up about 1/4 of an inch, and then let it go and see what happens. You're going to find a happy medium there. All right. Going to keep going down. We're going to ask for here we go. Krister, rehab's going fine. Started my winter's training. Started running 2.5 weeks ago. So you run indoors, I'm going to assume. Started with 2K for 14 days, now up to 3. Oh, my goodness. You are the man. You are the man. Dude, I like to be able to. I couldn't do 2K unless I was in a car. That's awesome. Although there will be a series of what does training do coming up. I'm going to kind of keep it under wraps, but I will let you guys know, since you guys are here all the time, that I did talk to a guy that does that kind of stuff over the internet for golf training. And let's just say I have already purchased what I call it, a wall ball and some bands, and we're going to get ready and we're going to see what I can't do by the end of 16 weeks. Lorinda's on. All right. Robbins must be seeing him. I can't see him. Paul, how you doing, sir? Knee's doing great. Going to try and play on Wednesdays. Question, what part of the full swing is captured to determine a golfer's swing speed? Well, it depends on the unit, Paul, that's doing that. There are some that only capture from about a foot from the ball to the bottom of the ball. There's some that take it from that. The machine will see the transition and will monitor it all the way through. But what they're really trying to tell you is what is your swing speed at impact, right? Your swing speed at impact, and that's the reason why you get acceleration curves. At least on mine, you get acceleration curves so you can see what the person's doing through the golf swing. But at impact is where it's really being done. All right. There it is. Krister's talking about he's getting a retrofit on Sunday to find a driver shaft. Nice. Well, if he's losing weight, Charles, looking like Bryson, he's going to have to start drinking about 14 of those damn shakes, because you've seen him before. He's a thin guy already. Bronson, you are welcome, sir. Of the Mud Hens, I don't know if they're up there or not. All righty. Ron Bemil. Have you done any sets with the new RTX calibers yet? What do you think of them? No, I have not. I have not. I actually have an RT in here, but I haven't had time to put it on a shaft or put an adapter on it to test it. If the wedge is any indication of the way that they'll perform, I think they'll be okay. Do I expect a huge amount of increase in speed? No, I don't. But I did do some wedge testing. It said to give you 500 RPM of spin. I didn't see that. I didn't see 500. Now I did see an increase in spin from mine, but it wasn't 500. And I tested them against others as well. Now and that was in what I would call 3/4 shots. In half shots, it did much better, but it still wasn't 500. You're welcome, Donald. Here's Liz. How you doing, sis? Let's play Stone Lick. I am definitely on. You let me know when it's good and they're letting you out there. All righty. Well, this guy, we're going to get rid of him. Block this guy. There, he's gone. All righty. There you go, Paul. He'd be, man, you're talking about this would be a character. It'd be like the Three Amigos. Sounds like a time. I'll even bring Bob. We'll have a foursome. We'll go together. Yeah, take photos. That would make for a very cool video. I'm here to tell you. All right, couple more and we got to go, guys. Huge lag, top dog of golf. Yeah, well, yeah. Thank you. Glad to see you're live. Good question. I got in touch with Diamond Golf Grips, as you mentioned. Are their prices for bulk grips good? I have no idea, because getting bulk grips from them would be problematic since they're across the way. Now, I actually, I don't know what the shipping laws are over in the UK. I just don't know what they are. However, there is an arrangement with Sean that if I ordered so much, the shipping it's a fixed cost in a certain cost, and it's very, very fair. I would say that. I would say it's very, very fair. But I've never, and I'm going to say the Golf Works over here is an equivalent to over there. And I do enough business that I'm already in kind of that area, so it wouldn't do me any good to go there. However, I can only imagine if you threaten to buy a case of grips that they would offer something to you. But that's just purely speculation on my part. But hopefully you had a good experience, because I do think they're top-notch folks. Wade, you're more than welcome, sir. Thank you. All righty. Two more, and then we got to go. All righty. Can you change the flex of club by moving a few swing weights one way or the other? Does this affect much? Well, flex is affected by swing weight. All right, assuming that swing weight is all being controlled by the head. So if you put more weight in it to get swing weight, it will get more flexible in the flex. Is it by a great amount? No. So a swing weight point might be worth 1/10 of a flex. And something in that realm, I believe it was. I used to know the number, but it's very, very close to that. It doesn't move it. It doesn't move the needle a lot, but it does move it. So if you throw like a 10 gram in there, yeah, you're going to impact the flex of the shaft. If you throw a 2 gram, not so much. Michael Haynes, he's actually watching here? Get the heck out. Chadwick Allen McCartney. Hello. All right. Oh, Michael is a long time. He's the brother of a longtime friend. I guess he's a longtime friend too. He's a good guy, good cat. Here we go, Zach Wheeler. Well, there's a new one. All right, where does the top of the shaft meet? Where does the top of the shaft meet the top of the grip dome? Trying to figure out what finish length for swing weight purposes. Okay, so I'm going to hope this is what we're talking about. So finished length is right at the shoulder here. All right, let's see if I can get it in here more. See where there's a bevel here, and it's at the bottom of the bevel or the shoulder of that particular grip. Now, where does it go in there? There's always a trick because all the grip guys are different. Some people will use this as a measure. Some people will cut that in half. I've actually measured some, and it's surprising how small that cap is. And particularly if you go to slide them on and you, instead of being flat, you create this dome at the top. And that's another problem because you're just going to cut through the bottom of it. So you want to be careful, but as a whole, that right at the shoulder of that grip. All righty. All right. Oh, look at that. Robin's making him famous. All righty. So, guys, we got to the bottom. We've made it to the end. All righty. And we're only 16 minutes past. So, again, got the video coming out. We're rebuilding some PXGs. It should be actually pretty good. It's a different kind of a format I wanted to use to see how it worked out. And in the end of the build, it was the way that Robert wanted them, so that was a good thing. Number 2, like and subscribe. We are this close to getting into 23,000. I'd really like to get to 25. And tell your friends. Tell your friends. And let's keep this thing going. And if you got any content that you'd like to see on building of clubs, let me know. Put them in the show notes, and we will certainly add it to it. And typically, guys, as usual, let's see your scores. Go low.